Well, guys, tonight we are in for a very special treat. You wouldn't even know this was take two, except I'm telling you. So tonight I have like I said, a special guest in the building. You may know him from his various comic exploits. He's been writing for television, for film, for sketch comedy, and of course for comic books. He's got a pretty exciting run on Stitch going right now with Mr. Connor Ratliff, but he's also the writer of the upcoming Aladdin issue #1 due out in comic shops on May the 6th. Please welcome Mr. James III. How's it going today, sir?
Hello. Doing all right. Doing okay. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here as well. What you guys missed out on was me giving this nice wholehearted intro and then my daughter walking in the room. just just great. And this is why this show is pre-recorded. But yeah, so we were talking a little bit backstage just about kind of the nature of comics PR for those companies that actually have it going on. Basically, what I get on my side is just an email like, hey, this book's coming out on this date. Are you interested in having a conversation with this writer or artist? And I'm like, hey, sure. And so I'll do my research, which generally consists of a League of Comic Geek search. And, you, sir, are quite mysterious to these comic book streets.
Yes. I guess that's true, and I imagine that's going to remain true for a while. But I'm always thankful for opportunities like this to talk to new audiences, and whenever a new book comes out is always a different chance to introduce yourself to new people. So
Speaking of introductions, it's interesting, right? Like, I don't meet a lot of writers with like stage names, right? Like I'm one. Well, I'm not a writer, but
yeah.
I got a stage name. And then there's artists like Frank Whiteley. That's a stage name. I'm trying to think of like Danny. I'm assuming Danny has a last name, but it's just Danny for comics, right? Like, so I'm curious, one, about the origin of your name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am a third, like a just in lineage. And it's gone through a variety of different iterations, but
Three of them, I'm
I
assuming.
three of the yeah, at least three different iterations. And I landed on this because I went through a lot of different like feelings about like whether or not to keep my last name, which I'll just spoil for everyone. I'll remove the mystery. It's Smith. But like whether or not I would keep it because of my complicated relationship with my father. And so, but I still kept the number, so I still kept the name and the number, but I dropped the Smith. It felt right. It felt, and I've gone through a lot of different, it gets me in trouble with people, or it gets other people in trouble with me, however you want to say it, where, I don't like my full name published on things. And so like, they get my government name from a W-2 or something, and then they're like, we have such and such. And it's like, y'all know my name's supposed to be. Like, get that out, get that last name out there, get my full government out of here. We're not doing this. So
Listen, that's fair. I think for me, I don't know. I think I just find it weird to like use my real name online, although everyone knows it, right?
yeah.
Like, I just feel like I don't know. It keeps a level, keeps us at arm's length, so to speak. So it's fun. But also it kind of gives me a sort of divider. Like BJ Kicks is a name I've been using since I was in ninth grade,
Yeah.
and so it's like I can't even like lie and be like, oh well, if you call me Brandon, that's how I know we're real friends. It's like no,
Right.
like my wife calls me Brandon, my mom calls me Brandon, and even in that situation, it's like if they're mad at me, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But it's just I don't know, something feels like something special to have for yourself, so I like it. But anyway, now that we've got the name out of the way, I'm curious now about just like sort of your entry into. Obviously, you're writing for a lot of things, and so what's your relationship with creative writing been?
Yeah, like I started writing, as a kid, like I would scribble stuff, but I was always like afraid of whether or not to pursue writing as a career. I perform and I do comedy and stuff, and I've always been like a performative type of a person, and so I leaned on that for most of my like a career, at least the early days of my quote unquote career. But then when I really started doing comedy heavy, like improv and sketch and stuff, that's when writing opportunities started to present themselves. And I would even say that I jumped into comedy, 10 toes deep when I wanted to write more formally. Like I wanted to I mentioned the complicated relationship with my dad. I wanted to do a solo show, typical solo show type stuff, like my dad and I'm sad and other type stuff. And I was like, I want to make sure that there is some humor in this, So I started going the comedy route to try to see like, how can I fuse humor in a dark story, and then writing opportunities just started to present themselves in ways that like. I don't know if they would have if I looked for them. Like a lot of people are looking for comedians to jazz things up, makes X, Y, and Z things funny. You do little. I'm talking about the early days of like Above Average and Comedy Central Digital and stuff like that. And they want like little videos and little Snapchat this and that, and so writing really became a thing that I was doing for money then. So we're looking at maybe, I think it's been like 15 years now or so. And then my first like real job that wasn't like a gig, a one-off gig or one-off sketch or whatever, was I wrote for Adam Ruins Everything in 2018. And that was so my first like TV job. And so I've been mostly writing since then. So for the last like 7 years or so. 7 or 8 years now, I guess.
Okay. So writing as a job, right? Like, I don't know. I guess because we deal in comics, I can think of like, all right, I've got a pitch for a thing. I've got an idea for a story. And so it's like by the time this gets to an editor, I have a good idea of what it is. And now we're kind of punching it up and fleshing it out, right? Mm-hmm. But like being a staff writer on a show or like a joke writer for something on Comedy Central or something, like that seems scarier to me. Like, can you explain kind of the differences of the ins and outs of that?
I mean, I will say, and I am still scared from time to time, working on certain things. I think, like needing to have a joke immediately is probably, for me, the quote unquote scariest kind of element of it. But how you described, like writing a comic is how TV is made. And it all just comes down to the deadline as to which one is faster or not, but it's the same kind of general process of like, you pitch an idea gets accepted, rounds of notes and then punching it up and fleshing it out. And then the levels of collaboration kind of change a little bit to where, if you're a staff writer, you may not see it to set. So you may not, be able to comment on what someone is wearing or, how someone is delivering a line or whatever. Whereas in comics, like to I guess to your point, it's either to your point or not, but that you're able to like, see the art and then give, kind of feedback later at that point in a way that like you're really only kind of getting that kind of input if you're producer level on a show or show running a show or something, as a writer. But it's those, they're similar in those ways and there's, differences in those others.
Got you. And just kind of looking through your credits, first of all, it's a who's who of like just my childhood. Right. Like,
yeah.
Things that stick. Right. You've got Powerpuff Girls, Fairly Odd Parents, A New Wish. You've got Good Burger 2, which for one is a thing that I never thought would happen. Right.
Yeah.
Like, sitting down with two of my children, the third hadn't been born yet, but us sitting down and watching a brand new movie starring Keenan and Kel was amazing. How was it writing for that project?
I mean, same. I truly, you know, a remarkable thing to have happened to me. Because I'm a like big Keenan and Kel, all that fan. I always said I went to the Keenan and Kel School of Acting. That's how I describe how I still act today. Like it's very heavily influenced by them. And when I worked on all that, when I worked on the reboot of all that, my role, I was a writer and I wrote sketches and stuff, but my like main role in the room was like having a deep knowledge of the former show. And so, like, and we were working with like the head writers of the show, Kevin and Heath. Kevin being the stage manager. 5 minutes.
Right.
He was a writer at the time, and that was why he had that role as well. Were the head writers, but they would even be like, "Did we do this?" And I would be like, "Oh, yes, we did," or "No, we didn't," or like. And so it kind of the seeds started there with like them understanding my love of Good Burger, my understanding of the property. So when it came time for the and me and another writer on the show at the time, Tim Barnes is his name, we like gave a one sheet like, oh, this is our idea for what Good Burger 2 should be, and the guys were like, we actually already we wrote it, we wrote a draft already. And so I got brought on. We're now cut to years, because that would have been 2019. Cut to 2022, 2023. I can't remember when the movie itself came out, but the year before the movie came out, I got brought on to work on the second draft of it. And so I got to read what they were doing, and they obviously understand it inside and out. And so my role was mostly like pitching, and I had some big kind of story ideas that I was interested in doing that ended up not going forward. But stuff but again, my role was very much like this is what Good Burger was and meant to me, and these are the ways that I think the sequel can be really impactful. And so I just did my best to kind of to try to steer it in that direction.
Yeah, no, it was very fun. It was very fun. Now, obviously, like writing for television and stuff, you're used to writing in groups. Something that seems fairly unique in comics is like writing duos. I can think of two, right? You and Connor, and then there's there's the other duo who's been doing a bunch of Star Trek stuff right now. I'm completely blanking on their names. That's how rare it is that you get like these teams of writers. How does that working relationship come about, and how do you guys kind of flesh things out?
Yeah, Connor and I met doing improv comedy in New York. I'm in California now, but we met there, and we had actually been working together on an improvised podcast, or I guess maybe loosely improvised interview podcast called Tiny Dinos, and we played two scientists. And how we developed that idea together is, we were on opposite coasts. And so it's a lot of like, a Google Doc being open and, this is what I think we should do. And, texting and an occasional conversations on the phone and stuff like that. And it's actually Tiny Dinos that led to our work on Stitch. We had a very similar dynamic to Jumba and Pleakley. and the editor of that, Nathan Cosby, heard Tiny Dinos and then reached out to us. And so Connor and I, we were not a writing duo at the time. I mean, we had obviously developed stuff together. But at the time of the ask, we hadn't written, we hadn't collectively written, but beyond like the kind of developmental stuff for Tiny Dinos, we hadn't written scripts together. And so, similarly, the way we did Stitch was like, we started with Google Doc of pitches. And then when we went on to, scripting, it became a thing of like where, we typically would take the lead on a premise that was like, oh, this was my premise that I came up with, so I'm taking the lead on that script. And so then the other person's role in that was typically refining and punch up type stuff. Occasionally it would be like, oh, can you write this act, which would be around 4 to 6 pages or so, or what have you, for then the other person to punch up. But it was a lot of like handing off. So like, if I did one, he did two. If he did three, I did four. Kind of thing. But we have said we will never say which one. We will never say who did what. It's where we have come to decide to be. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been I think about a year and a half or so of that process, and he. I'm always trying to make him laugh. He's always trying to make me laugh with our scripts, and so it's been a blast to get to do. It started as 8, and now we're going up to at least 12 right now, and so it's been really fun to get to be. We're back working on these back 4, and I can't wait for people to see it.
They're really fun. For those who are not reading Stitch currently, it's very episodic. I think, funny enough, like the best Disney like adaptations are the ones that like have legs after the fact. Like for me, I don't know. I'm a 90s kid. So it's like Disney Renaissance was everything. And most of the time, like I could not be bothered with a sequel. There are a few that stood out.
Yeah.
The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, right?
Yeah.
Like I watch that any day.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid 2, right? Like let's just do the movie again, but like flip it. Like
right.
She can never go in the sea. All right, cool. I like that one, right? The Aladdin trilogy, right?
Yeah.
Like quiet as kept because people sleep on Return of Jafar, and I get it because Robin Williams wasn't in it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But
you get Dan Castellaneta was in that, right? I mean, he goes on to do the show. It's he's great.
Same, right. He did this. He did the show, and he did Return of Jafar. But then they brought Robin Williams back for Aladdin and the King of Thieves, and love that movie, right? But the one thing all three of those do have in common is that they had animated series as well, and it was just something about the characters that just like lent itself to this episodic storytelling that never, for whatever reason, to me, didn't get old. And they all have that in common with Lilo and Stitch as well. The Lilo and Stitch animated series, the premise, if you don't remember, was, if Stitch was experiment 626, then what happened to the other 625? So every episode is like this monstrosity that Jumba had created. And they've got to go like capture it, basically. And that is very much what the Stitch comic feels like. It's not so much capturing experiments, but it's just Jumba can't stop being evil. And so every issue, he's got his scheme. Like, all right, here's my evil thing that I'm doing today. And so there's like hypno wigs. There's the one where like he's basically like exposing the truth about everything. Like nobody can lie when they get hit with this ray. There's just a lot of like sort of absurd ideas, but like they all hit. And I don't know if it's just like obviously like part of that is just you guys' creative ability and just understanding the voices and heart of these characters. But yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, like truly, like once you kind of key into like what's the like either what's the journey or what's the mission, then you just kind of you're off to the races from there. And when we were approached about it, the idea was just like the idea that Nate had was like I just sort of wanted to be Jumba and Pleakley, and then like Stitch is kind of messing it up, and it was like it's that, and so it's like, okay, great, that mandate is clear enough that you can do that forever, you can it's refillable as a sitcom-y kind of premise. And then it then comes down to Connor and I to figure out what the meat of that is, and and how can you keep doing that. But and that's also just a testament to the character games and character behavior that they created in the first movie of, the odd couple of Jumbo and Pleakley and the wild card of Stitch. And, it's just so clear that, they're always going to kind of be doing that. And it was so fun to play and do.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Right. And that kind of brings us into Aladdin. Right. So you ditched Connor for whatever reason, just left that man in the dust. You're right.
No, I will tell the story of me doing stuff at Dynamite separate from Connor was like 6 to 8 months prior to them reaching out about Stitch. I had been cold emailing their submission. I had been cold emailing this because I've been writing comics now since 2022-ish, 2023, something like that. And so I've been trying to figure out, like, how can I branch out more, going back to me how mysterious I am in the world of comics. And so I had already been reaching out. And so after they reached out to us about Stitch, I was like, Connor, I know you love DuckTales. Like, you should reach out to them about like Connor's a diehard, like he's like posting panels from Carl Barks comics prior to any of the, I just knew that about Connor when they reached out, and I was like, you should just, try to bug. And God bless Nate, because once that happened, maybe 2 or 3 months into the process, I just started like gently tapping him, like, oh, hey, like, I see you working on this. Like, can I do a this? Can I do a that? And so, I worked on Powerpuff. And after I worked on Powerpuff, as a result of that gentle nudging, is where Aladdin sort of came from. So I didn't ditch Connor necessarily, but I was just like interested in kind of these other things, and was very kind of, I was very much poking Nate, and genuinely God bless him for not just swatting me like a fly and moving on. But and so yeah, so I'm working on this Aladdin series, and it's been really cool to get to do. It's been about a year of developing before they announced it, but I only just started scripting. So, so what the road ahead is still sort of unmapped to a degree.
So I mean, man, it is crazy. I am 35 years old, and there is a brand new Aladdin comic book coming out, and the year is not 1992. Like, this is insane to me, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we're coming off the heels of this Lion King series that Stitch cover artist Edwin Gallman is working on. And that was a book that I was like, we keep revisiting the Lion King. Like, we don't need to revisit the Lion King anymore. My kids love the Lion Guard, and like, for me, that's blasphemy. Like, who is this? Who is Kion? Why are we doing this? I don't care about the roar. You're gonna go sit down and watch the great kings of the past, right? And here we are. We set this series right after the elephant graveyard scene, and so it's like, okay, this is dope. It's like a blast from the past, but it feels new, and suddenly I'm in love again, right? Can you tell us anything about the sort of premise for this Aladdin series?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, at least as of right now, the journey that we're on right now is very like episodic, sitcom, refillable, individual stories centered on the characters, and love. So it's set after Aladdin, after Aladdin,
okay.
pre / adjacent to Return of Jafar. But it's not the crew. It's not the crew plus Iago. It's all kind of, pre that. And what's been really fun to get to do is I've been trying to explore, like, where's the Agrabah we haven't seen? What's the Aladdin journey right after you realize you're about to now be a member of the royal family. What's Genie's deal right when the shackles are off, and you can now do whatever you want. What's Abu's deal? You couldn't stop stealing stuff. The whole movie you was stealing stuff. So what's Abu's deal now that he is rich? I guess beyond belief.
Right.
So that's where it is. I have like I said, the road ahead is unmapped. I have pitched a couple like multi-issue arcs that that I would be interested in exploring. But I'm still sort of kind of waiting to get the final on that. But it's very much, I'm doing my very best to capture the energy of, what Aladdin was to me as a kid. And I'm hoping that it will, just, I have now said this a bunch of times talking about Stitch, but hoping that it will, just bridge the gap between me and any child now, like that they're sort of able to connect with it and connect with it in a similar way that I was able to connect with it as a kid.
Yeah, man. I think the idea of Aladdin is wild, right? Just wish fulfillment, all sorts of stuff, right? But like, just picture this: like a kid from Southside Agrabah, just see a pretty girl,
specifically South Side. It was the South Side
right,
too.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like specifically Southside Agrabah. Like you can see the palace, every now and then you get a nice little window view. But this is just where it's at. We're in the projects in Agrabah. We get around the way. We know how
all of this is going in. He's gonna call it the projects. He's gonna say the South Side.
Yeah, man. We on the South Side. You meet this pretty girl at the marketplace. Clearly, she's not from around here. Like,
yeah,
and dang, is Aladdin like ATL? Like,
I mean, it is right. It is essentially. It is essentially, but all things are that, right? When you look close, you're like, oh, it's the same.
Right. Like, the
same story.
So now Aladdin is T.I., which explains the little hat, like somehow staying on his head in that little corner, right? Like, that's great. But you meet this girl, right? She gets you all kinds of caught up, almost executed, just all sorts of stuff.
Yes, and immediately.
Now, right.
Immediately?
And you went through with it after all of that, and now your reward is you're basically about to be Sultan. Like,
yeah,
just the ruler of it all. Like, what better life is there to live? And like, how are you going to act really after that? Yeah. That sort of in life.
Genuine confusion, I think. I think genuine confusion. So, and that's where I've set him. No, he's blindsided left and right. But yeah, it truly is it is wish fulfillment to the to a T and to the nth degree for everybody. Even the wish giver.
Right.
So wish granter. Yeah.
So. Right. Like I don't know. I love that movie. Right. But I watch it so many times. In my house, we're still a Disney house. And so,
yeah.
And, we're kind of like, all right, we got Disney Plus. Like, no, we're not watching Paw Patrol. We are watching Aladdin. I don't think we've watched Little Mermaid, actually. Because Ursula's kind of scary looking. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, with my daughter being 3, it is like a, we'll play a song from that every now and again, but the full movies we're still dipping our toe, I think she's seen a couple of the the Pixar ones all the way through, but there's always a part where it's like, you can't look at this, you gotta
right.
Yeah, turn your head away from them.
Crazy. So, well, your daughter's 3, so I feel like she's probably not quite old enough to for you to be the superstar when you get home with new Stitch stuff,
I am reading them to her.
Okay.
And when the first Stitch came in, it like hurt my heart that the interest wasn't. It hurt my heart that she couldn't get through it. But by the time the third Stitch was out, she was like fully on board, and I got to work on a DuckTales with Connor as well, and she like loves like once she's I was reading one with I can't remember which specific arc it was, but Nate was like, "This is my favorite one," so Connor and I both picked it up, and Magica's heavily featured in it, and she was like, "Oh, she was just like the witch," like so now she loves DuckTales, you know, and it's like, and you know, hoping the witch will pop up. So she does, you know, when the new ones come out, I do now read them in their entirety to her. Mm-hmm. But in the early days, it was slow for the first couple issues, and that did make me sad, you know.
So Stitch has a lettering style. It's in title caps, where, you know, most comics you'll get like in full caps. And so it's like, to me, that immediately says, oh, okay, like this is for a younger audience. But because it's Jumba and Bleakley, like there's more words than like, I guess, my kids can handle. But I'm curious, like, because now you're reading these comics to a 3-year-old, and I have to read comics to a 5-year-old, and I find it frustrating, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, we're going to read all of this in this one panel. Then we're going to move to the next panel. Has reading comics to your daughter changed the way you write them?
That is a great question, and I will say that the answer, I think, should be that it has. But in terms of, especially in terms of the like really kind of bulky stuff that like Jumpa's saying, and what has mostly adjusted that is the like the more issues I see, the more the size of the text jumps out at me. and the more I'm like, okay, well, I sort of don't want it to be that. You know, I don't want it to feel like that. You know, but he has a very specific kind of, Jumba specifically has a very specific way of speaking, and you know, we sort of had a lot of fun with him being over explaining and things like that. But you're, you know, especially seeing my daughter like be like, okay, we don't have to finish Stitch number 1. I was like, okay, all right. Okay, all right, I get it.
It's funny. It's fun because you get to do voices, and so then it's like it goes by a little bit faster, and the kids are entertained. But my daughter just like looks at the pictures and makes up her own story, like
yes,
which is also fun to like see, like what do they come up with based on what you see, like, you know.
Yes, it is incredible to see. I love hearing her kind of fill in a blank of like, you know, well, why are they mad now? You know, and then or do they not like such and such or whatever, you know, and like, and trying to, you've read it, but now you're like filling in the blank afterwards of like, well, no, well, they're not mad, are they, you know, or whatever it is. But
right.
Yeah, so, it's a joy to see.
It's fun. It's fun for sure. But yeah, I've got a note here to talk about Jumbo's shenanigans. I think we've done so, but I cannot explain to you enough how funny it is to see like what Jumbo comes up with in each, I'll keep wanting to say episode, but each issue of this series.
Oh yeah.
Like,
we're calling them episodes too. Okay. It's so hard not to sometimes, you know.
It's for sure. So we've talked about almost everything on my list here, but I'm curious because obviously, like, you're a very funny person, right? A lot of your credits are certainly in the comedy sphere. Who are some of your writing influence or just comedic influences in general?
Yeah, I mean, well, like I said, like, you know, I definitely went to the Keenan and Kel School of Acting, and I would say that the early Nickelodeon, 90s Nickelodeon rather, which is not technically early Nickelodeon because it was around for maybe 10 years prior, but you know, 90s Nickelodeon very much influenced me and my writing. You know, and then as I got older, like you know, Adult Swim and stuff is sort of like always what I'm trying to emulate. As a kid, like bringing it back to, this is not a writing influence answer, but bringing it back to Aladdin for a second, like when I was a thing that I do in the comedy space is impressions, and like some of my earliest impressions was doing impressions of cartoon characters, and Genie and Iago, so Robin Williams and Gilbert Gottfried were some of my like earliest impressions, and like I won a talent show in the third grade doing those impressions, and
Wow.
it really is like in my DNA. In that way. And then, when I think about writing and when I think about what I'm trying to do with my career, your Jordan Peele's, your Seth Rogen's, these people that sort of have that career trajectory that's like they're comedy forward, but then also heavily genre, and doing really cool things, cool original things in the genre space. I'm not giving myself I'm not giving myself the pressure of like having to like, I now have to outdo those people or whatever, to in order to make my stake or whatever. But those are the people that like influence me the most, that they're sort of able to, Peele's sort of able to talk about social issues, through genre first, with the same like level of humor and levity that he brought to his other stuff, and or thinking of something like a Preacher or whatever from Seth and Evan, that it's real. It's the look and the feel is very edgy and still very funny and high octane and stuff like that. Like that's the kind of space that I'm really moved by.
Nice. Now, with comedy, I'm curious because it's like, I don't know, not. Sometimes it feels like comedy isn't taken seriously, right? Like,
Sure.
for all the work that it takes to
100%.
be a comedic writer, to find humor in all sorts of nonsense, right? I think we separate stuff out. We separate comedy into sort of this class of I guess so-called thinkers, right? Like a Chappelle, or I guess now like Josh Johnson's on YouTube every week.
Oh, yeah.
Doing amazing stuff, right? But like we have like that class, like sort of political comedy, and then we have like the slapstick stuff, right? And whichever of those you are, right, it still kind of seems to be overlooked for, whatever drama or documentary stuff is going on. Like, how is it choosing comedy as a path? Why do you choose it, or I guess continue to choose it? Almost like a marriage, right?
100%. Yeah. And I have always sort of been a person that has been very moved by making people laugh, from an early age. Like I said, I mentioned that talent show and stuff. Like I've been being silly since then, since the second grade, since I could breathe, I was being silly.
Right.
And so to me, like, and then there's also that thing of, comedians. I don't know if anyone would say this, if I'm being entirely too hokey right now, but like, the band of brothersness of it, of feeling like it's a higher calling, if you would call it that, or, that I have like the way that I can do good, I'm not a politician, but a way that I can do good is, making people laugh and giving people this release or what have you. And so while yes, like there is that when are the comedies going to win more Oscars or what have you? As much as there's that as a reality, there's still that kind of understanding of amongst us, the comedian, that like what we're doing is important and is valid and means something, for as much as like be it I'm doing a fart joke right now, or I'm I'm satirizing X, Y, and Z political figure or whatever, So, I think it is feeling that higher callingness of it,
Nice. So, you grew up on 90s Nick. I also grew up on 90s Nick. I was that kid that was like, my last button was just going to go from Nickelodeon to Cartoon Network. And, and that was it, right? Like, if there was anything else on TV, I didn't see it. We didn't have Disney Channel. That was a part of the premium cable package.
Yeah, same. We're very, very similar upbringings as far as media consumption.
So, all right. So we've got all that, and I don't know if I want to do like top 5 like Nick shows, or if I want to go like top 5 like all that sketches for you.
I can try to do both if we have time for it. So top 5 Nick shows first.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, this is gonna be so hard. I thought this was gonna be easy, and then as soon as I was about to say the first one, I was like, "This is the hardest thing I've ever been asked in my life."
Usher giving his confessions.
Yeah. Okay, Kenan and Kel got to be in there.
Yeah.
All that has to be in there. And then I feel like if I say those two, I also have to say the Amanda Show. But then I'm already at 3, and they're sketches.
Yeah.
And that's not my truth.
Okay.
So I'll leave Kenan and Kel and all that, and then I have to go like The Secret World of Alex Mack.
Okay.
I have to go Clarissa Explains It All.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then I have one more, and I haven't said a single Nicktoon. You see what you did to me? If I have to include one single Nicktoon, it would have to be Invader Zim, who actually I drew this. Oh my! Well, I love me some Invader Zim, but I'm now regretting like not saying, like, I could have said 5 Nicktoons. I could have said 5. I could have said 5 Tommy Lynch shows, which I think Alex Mack is a part of that kind of sphere. Alan Strange was a big one for me. Shelby Woo was a big one for me. So I loved all of them. But those are my top 5. I guess I have to stand by that.
Yeah. Now that I'm trying to narrow down a top 5, it's hard. So I would go Clarissa over Alex Mack. I would still go Kenan and Kel, all that top 2. And then I did love the Amanda Show.
Yeah.
AmandaPlease.com. I was up there every week. The Bring in the dance, like Judge Trudy,
bringing the dancing lobsters.
Lobsters.
She carried the network on her back for a period of time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was her.
Yeah, yeah, So there's so much of that. I can't even separate it out. Like Dear Ashley, that might as well have been an Amanda Show. That's on all that,
exactly.
Right? So all right, so those 3. Ooh, if I only can pick one Nicktoon, my gut wants to say Rugrats, but I'm probably going Hey Arnold.
Okay, yep.
And
I'm like, I ain't say Rocco's Modern Life. See, but yep, Hey Arnold, yeah. Hey Arnold, that's a good one.
my wife loves Rocco's Modern Life to the point where I bought her all the seasons on DVD. It's somewhere in the garage now, along with the DVD player that doesn't exist here. But
yeah,
so that's interesting. What is going on? All right, cool. So all right, one Nicktoon is Hey Arnold, and I gotta go Guts.
Ooh, Guts. Okay,
Guts.
I just did an episode of Abbott Elementary, and Mike O'Malley was on it, and the whole time I wanted to be like, I need you to understand, you are the only reason I did any activity from 1990s, whatever the show is.
Oh man, if Nick Arcade had lasted longer, it might have jumped up there too.
Oh yeah,
Nick Arcade was great, but nah, Guts. Do you have it anyway?
Oh man. That's a good one.
We got top 5 Nick shows. Now we're
Yes.
going top 5 all that sketches.
Yes. So I have to go Good Burger. If I were to say a specific a specific Good Burger sketch that always comes to mind is there was this one where, and I feel like they left this in to like as like a somewhat of a teaser for the Keenan and Kel show. But there's this one where Lexter Oaks, construction worker, which was played by Keenan, is coming to order something, and for whatever reason, Keenan and Kel can't stop laughing. What they're saying and doing is not even like particularly like the funniest thing you've ever heard, you know. But for whatever reason, they can't get through the sketch. And I will never forget that. Ask Ashley is up there. One of my favorite Ask Ashley sketches is the one where like a guy, one of his letters is like, you know, he's like really obsessed with this girl. He really likes this girl, and he keeps talking about like all of these different things that he's trying to do, but the girl is like not responding or not, you know, or is not reciprocating. And it's one of the moments where she's like, "Come real close to the TV, closer, closer, closer," and then hits the camera, and she goes, "Sarah don't like you," and it was like I have been hearing that in my head for.
Oh God, the way you just unlocked the core memory, like I remember this like vividly.
Sarah don't like you. So funny. I mean, and this is gonna be hard because this can't be true at all. That these are my favorites, but like I love that these are my top tops. I love Okra. I love Miss Fingerly. Anytime Miss Fingerly was doing loud librarians, some of those loud librarians. Come on. So I guess over Miss Fingerly, I would go loud librarian. And then there's so many people that I'm leaving out. Like I'm leaving out like Island Girls and stuff like that, or you know, some of Alyssa's other stuff. But I would have to say, if I would say one more to say 5, one for Josh, probably Detective Dan. Okay. You know, I mean, Ear Boy was up there, but Detective Dan like was never not funny to me. I tried desperately to write a Detective Dan on the reboot. And you know, those sketches a lot of them are like, it's like this, you see the same thing over and over, you know, and they kind of are and they were like, oh, it kind of feels a little similar to the last one that we did. And I was just trying so hard to get it in, but they were like, no, it's too much like the last one, you know? But yeah, but those are the 5, if I were to say.
Yeah. I think for me, it's definitely Good Burger, Dear Ashley. I'd almost copy your list. I think I went Ear Boy over Detective Dan. Right, because something about Ear Boy and Pizza Face just existing is amazing.
Yeah, Ross Perot there for no reason. Like, why was Ross Perot there? Right. Why was Ross Perot there?
That's a great question. And then the guys, was it Mandy and Randy with all the chocolate?
Randy and Mandy, yeah,
yeah, like
that's a great one.
I love that one. So yeah, I don't know. When do you ever get to like run down top 5 all that sketches? So
never. You're the first person to ask me, and so I'm very thankful to get to tell somebody what my top 5 are. And I think I named 15 different sketches, but my top 5 are in there somewhere.
Hey, listen, that works for me. Yeah. So I used to manage a hip hop artist from Canada, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, who apparently was on Wild and Crazy Kids at one point. That's just a random bit of Nickelodeon trivia that just popped into my head, which is crazy.
They were one of the Wild and Crazy Kids?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean, right? Okay, wow, that's crazy.
Right. That's insane. But anyway, so Nickelodeon nostalgia. Yeah, that 90s Nick was special. And I guess now it kind of has to come with an asterisk of sorts.
Yeah. And I mean, it's, you know, I am so thankful now that, you know, the light is being shown on it, and, you know, and hopefully people are able to kind of get some healing now after everything, you know, but it's it is. I just shared some video from Drake Bell, and I literally was like, as I shared it, it was just like, I can't believe he was going through that. You just
Yeah.
can't believe that is what was going on, and how people can get in their own way
Mhm.
about trying to figure out what the right thing is to do in situations like this.
Yeah.
How adults weren't helping them, and things like that. It's really a shame to say the least. It's really a shame.
Yeah. For there to be that many adults in any given room and for a kid to come out harmed is just crazy. Yeah. But I mean, hey, prayerfully, everyone's finding healing, like you said. And the more you talk about it, sometimes that's hard. Sometimes just talking about it is hard, but hopefully we kind of come to grips with like the difficult parts about ourselves and hopefully move on, move forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So all that to say, all that Keenan and Kel, the Amanda Show, great shows. And
Incredible shows.
like just oh my gosh, now I need like, do they have box sets? There's got to be box sets somewhere.
I think for a handful of them, you can definitely get them. Like I have the digital stuff, but there's always a caveat as to whether or not, like, you don't know how long that's going to be available.
Yeah.
But they
Now,
definitely collected all of those Keenan and Kel's, and I think all that was tough because of the music rights. But
yeah. When they started running all that on was it Paramount? Was it Paramount or Peacock? I can't
yeah,
keep up.
probably
with
Paramount.
these.
Paramount.
Yeah. So that was the thing. I was so excited, like, oh, let's look at these musical guests, and none of them were there. They just kind of cut the
Yeah,
episode.
and some of them even aren't even. It's like, for some of them, it's not even like what the episode was for that reason. Like, you don't get certain things, and like, certain. I think it's even like, like this sketch wasn't there, but it's there now because of whatever.
Got you. Yeah. Oh yeah,
But
because they were.
for your nostalgia, you can still sort of review the sketches.
Yeah. So those are all fun. I might have to revisit some of those before I go to bed at this point. But just a reminder for all of you guys, since we've got carried away talking about all sorts of Nick nonsense. The Aladdin FOC is April 13th. So you can, FOC is final order cutoff. Go to your comic shop, call your comic shop, text your comic shop if you're like me, or you can even send an email. Just be like, hey, I want Aladdin #1. Actually, just put me down for the whole series. If you're wondering which cover to go for, I'm partial to Jay Lee, but there's a lot of good covers on these books. It's a Dynamite book, so there's probably like 26 of them. No lie. So just check them out, right? Like, but they're all good. But you want to at least subscribe for the cover A, so you don't have to worry about it. It'll be in your box when it's time for the release of issue 1, which comes on Wednesday, the 6th of May. So go get your headache medicine, run to your comic shop. You'll have some reading material. It'll be great. It'll be great. And by the way, if you missed out on Stitch and Jumba's shenanigans, the volume 1 for Stitch, it's called Evil-ish Geniuses, collects the first 4 issues. You can get that in trade paperback or in a nice digest size hardcover on April 15th, 2026, wherever your comics or books are sold, courtesy of Dynamite Entertainment. James, it has been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Oh yeah, no problem. And of course, you are welcome back here anytime. Before I let you go, just let the audience know where they can keep up with you.
Yes, you can follow me at James Third Comedy. Third is the number 3 RD, at James Third Comedy on Instagram primarily. And ruleof3inc.com is my website, and I have comics on there, and anytime I'm doing shows and stuff, you can check it out there.
Awesome. Well, I will leave links in the description of this video and in the show notes for all you audio listeners. And yeah, again, Stitch is out in stores now. Aladdin's coming out May the 6th. Go get those. Follow James on socials. Links are in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in another one soon. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.